Hey, what's up, Zach here, and today I've got the all-new Nike Hypersmash. Let's get into them. Now, by the looks of it, you can tell the Hypersmash is both a variant of the Nike Vapor 12, although it is distinctly different than the Vapor 12. It might have the same silhouette, but there are enough differences between the two that definitely warrant its own review, as well as some consideration of which one you'd maybe want to buy. But remember, this also harkens back to the original Hyper Dunk in 2008 that was worn by Kobe Bryant back in the 2008 Olympics. Now, obviously, this looks like the silhouette of the Hyper Dunk as well, but it's also quite a bit different from the Hyper Dunk. So it really is its own unique shoe, for better or for worse. But we'll get into differences and similarities between the Vapor 12, as well as one big glaring difference I found from the Hyper Dunk, other than that it's a tennis shoe, not a basketball shoe, in the review. So let's get started. Now, starting off in the uppers of the Hypersmash, you get standard integrated lace eyelets that is different than the giant poles you get that integrate actually into the uppers of the Vapor 12. Now, the other thing you don't get in the Hypersmash that you got in the Vapor 12 was a runner's knot. In the Hypersmash, it is just standard lace system. There's not even a reinforcement in the last lace eyelet. I think that's to keep the lines pretty clean, because you go into the rest of the shoe, it is that synthetic leather that goes right into the forefoot of the shoe. Now, what I noticed is because there isn't a runner's knot in there, heel slippage in these things is more mild to moderate, especially the high, the bulkier of the orthotic that you get into these. Whereas in the 12s, you could basically lock them down as much as you feel like. And these ones, you're kind of relying on the kindness of the gusset and the tongue, as well as the padding and the heel counter. Now, the other big difference between the Hypersmash and the Vapor 12s that I was really looking forward to was, in the Vapor 12s, it's basically just textile mesh that runs all the way through the shoe. And then there's, polyurethane that goes in strands from the medial side of the shoe into the toe box for a drag guard. The Hypersmash does not have a drag guard. It is all just synthetic leather, harkening back to the 2008 Hyper Dunk. Now, the thing is the Hyper Dunk had Flywire. And in the Hypersmash, it looks like it's got Flywire, right? I mean, it's got the same silhouette, but it didn't feel like it when I was touching it, and I took my knife to some of it, and peeling it up, it does appear just to be TPU strands, whereas Flywire is actually cabling, right? And you can see it in the shoe, especially in the microscope. And under this one, when I cut this one open, it looks just like it's TPU. I could be wrong. Maybe it's just encased more and I can't see it because it's so small compared to the strands of TPU. But from my eyes and from the microscope, it looks like it is not specifically Flywire. It is more TPU wire that is just taking the same silhouette. From the Hyper Dunk, you can see in the rear foot, you do get this kind of foam external heel counter. It's not rigid, right? It's just a thick piece of foam that all these TPU strands originate from. So the thing is the containment is still pretty darn good in these things. I mean, remember, all that TPU that's going up and under the synthetic leather and around the heel counter, it's still gonna add to the reinforcement. Is it the same as some of other Nikes like Jump Wire or Flywire, Flight Wire? To me, probably not, but does it get the job done? I think so. Look at this thing on the upper durability test, 10 seconds highest grit sandpaper. And because it's all white, it's hard to see on camera, but it does get through that layer versus on the Nike Vapor 12, where it's got 2 layers of polyurethane. So for draggers or sliders, they're gonna look weird and they're probably not gonna protect much. So if you're a dragger or slider, I'd be buying the Vapor 12 over these really any day. Now, this thing on the breathability test, that's another huge difference between these and the Vapor 12s. These heated up 124.1 degrees. In the forefoot, peak external temperature on the shoe didn't get above 71 degrees. Remember, there's a lot of padding underneath those uppers, plus all that synthetic leather. It's just there's a lot of areas for this thing to hold on to heat. The interesting thing is, look at the breathability mapping of it, and fog is blowing out of the sides of these. There are a couple areas where fog can get out of the sides. So in terms of moisture retention, there's places for breathability, but it's just that forefoot of the shoe, which is, where I take the readings for the breathability test. It's holding on to some heat. Not saying there's not some moisture and heat egress on the sides, but there's also just enough material in these to also hang on to a lot of heat as well. Now, on the midsole teardown, a simple x-ray will suffice, because there's absolutely no differences between the midsoles of the Hypersmash and the Vapor 12. Interestingly enough, though, it is a lighter shoe by a full ounce, exactly 1 ounce. Actually, the Nike Vapor 12 for me came in at 15.05 ounces. These came in at 14.05 ounces. So even though there's a little bit more material in the forefoot, it looks like the Vapor 12 actually, the polyurethane in the uppers, a little bit more of the doubled over lace eyelets, that stuff is just, you know, gonna create a little bit more weight to the shoe. So look at these things on the speed ratio, they actually come in a little bit higher than the Vapor 12 because they're just a little bit of a lighter shoe. Now, the Vapor 12 also has the more integrated lace eyelets, so you're getting a better lockdown. So to me, the Vapor 12, even though it's a little bit of a heavier shoe, to me, it might be a little bit more speedy for you because it just locks down better. So as you can see also, the tread on these things, both of them are exactly the same. They slip on the grip test ramp at exactly the same time because the dyes of rubber really aren't a lot different. It's not like one's got translucent rubber and one's got dyed rubber. So really it's about the exact same in terms of number one, durability. On the outsole durability test on these things, 10 seconds highest grit sandpaper, exactly the same. Burr just basically wipes these off. The durometer is the exact same, pretty darn high. So but really, they're got the same grab as the Vapor 12. They actually grab pretty well on outdoor courts. They're still gonna wear down the exact same as the Vapor 12. It's just that, like I said, a little bit of a lighter shoe, 1 ounce lighter than the Vapor 12, but don't lock down as sturdy as the Vapor 12. If you're not putting orthotics in them and you don't have a super high arch foot to begin with and you lock down shoes fine anyway, you're not gonna notice that. For people on the fringes, that's where you're gonna notice it the most in terms of speed, cornering, and stopping power. In terms of fit, the Hypersmash has the same 11-degree inflare to the midfoot, then 10-degree from the midfoot to the forefoot, and then it's still got 29 centimeters in length, 9 centimeters metatarsal width, 10.5 of toe box width, and the same 28-degree toe box taper. I will say the Hypersmashes feel just a little bit more plush in the forefoot because you don't have the polyurethane. So maybe just not bending and snapping as much, as feels a little bit more comfortable, almost like a little bit more of a casual shoe, to be honest, versus the Vapor 12s. Still good and bad for the same things, right? You still just have, you know, pretty dense phylon in the forefoot. You got the rear foot zoom air unit. So, you know, you got the bottom loaded shank. They're still decent for ankle sprainers for sure. In the rear foot, they're still okay for heel pain. Forefoot, you're still gonna need an orthotic, and then really nothing has changed there. I will say maybe these break in a little bit better than the Vapor 12. You might be able to fit a little bit of a wider foot in these a little bit easier. But honestly, not much else has changed. Still a very speedy shoe, still can grip pretty well, still can slide very well. It's just with these ones sliding, you're gonna tear through the uppers. Honestly, I would have liked to have seen the Hypersmashes do a little bit more of what the Hyper Dunks were, like maybe borrow a little bit more of that technology from there. I think it's, I mean, like I said, it's still got the same TPU bar as the Vapor 12. That's nice that it borrowed that, you know, that's kept that same silhouette. But, you know, to me, this is more of a collector's item. I mean, you can definitely play in them for sure. I mean, they play just fine, just like the Vapor 12. I just think the Vapor 12 is a little bit better. And so if you're gonna buy these, you're buying them for the nostalgia, you're buying them for the special release, right? At least in my opinion, because the Vapor 12 to me just plays just that little bit better, locks down that just a little bit better, is gonna be a little bit more durable for you, or in the upper is a lot more durable, I guess I should say. But if you want it for your collection or just want it to play in and you're not a huge dragger or slider, or if you just don't care what the uppers look like if you do drag or slide, then yeah, I mean, they're gonna play, like I said, for most people, very, very similar to the Vapor 12, just with those, you know, maybe a little bit lighter, maybe a little more plush, maybe a little bit less lockdown. So love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below, especially if you're getting these. I did see as soon as I got mine, they sold out. So I was pretty lucky. I caught these pretty quick when they went on sale. So I'm sure there's gonna be more of them though. I mean, they're definitely gonna, trust me, if they sold well, and I'm sure they'll come back to market. So love to hear if you're gonna buy these or if you're skipping them for the traditional Vapor 12. Let me know in the comments down below. And if you do want to see what I'm talking about, like the full breakdown review of the Vapor 12 with the play test and everything like that, make sure you click into this video up above and subscribe down below. Respect your info. See you soon with the Sneakerverse.